everybody, Fiber Spider back again in the kitchen with another tasty video for you, and it is a hot one. Yes it is, because we are going to be making hot sauce. It is one of my favorite condiments by and large, next to ketchup. I love ketchup, but I love hot sauce even more. I put it on just about everything, and we are going to be making a really delicious recipe. Now, the beauty of this is that you can alter it, you can tweak it, you can use different peppers, different seasonings, different things. It is a fabulous palette and like a blank canvas that you can experiment with and have fun. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my recipe that I've made a couple of times, and it is so delicious. Yes. And I'm excited about this because I ran out the other day. I'm like, oh, I need to make more. Let's make a video. The yield is pretty good. It makes about 4.5 8-ounce bottles, which is pretty good. Great for sharing, yes. And I love it. And also it lasts really well in the fridge. My last batch, it was in the fridge for, in total, about a month or so, and it tasted just fine and fabulous. So we're going to be using a bunch of different peppers and some vinegar, and we're going to cook it all up and nice. And ooh, I'm sorry, I'm excited because I need more of this in my fridge. So let's get to it, shall we? Alrighty. Hello again. All right, so I have my ingredients all set and ready to go. So let's do the doing, shall we? So first things first, we're going to need about half of a yellow onion, which I already peeled, and it is ready for the chopping. Now, the beauty of this recipe is that you do not have to make all sorts of nice, neat little pieces, and they have to look all pretty. No, you do not have to worry about that, because we're going to be using an immersion blender after everything has become nice and soft after stewing and simmering for a while. Also, you're going to want a nice large pot. I can't stress that enough, because when we are going to be doing the blending, it is going to want to splatter a little bit. So a nice deep pot, good to have, let me tell you. One time I made it, and well, let's just say it was a much shorter pot, and so it was temperature hot, it was spicy hot, and it was splattering all over the place. Learn from my mistakes. So just that being said, all right, so that was half of a yellow onion. Now, going to do an entire red bell pepper. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, why a bell pepper? Well, there is a method to my madness, and that is that I wanted to give my hot sauce some body and some sweetness, but without the heat. Now, of course, red bell peppers, they are not at all spicy, but they give some nice color and some sweetness without having to add extra sugar. There are a lot of recipes out there that, yes, they do add sugar, and I didn't want to do that. No, did not want to do that. And also, another thing, you don't have to worry about, getting rid of seeds and that sort of thing. I just wanted to get rid of the core, because we are going to be straining this after it has been gone through the immersion blender. So, just give everything a nice rough chop. You do not have to worry. Just small-ish pieces. How about that? And just throw everything into your pot. And then get this guy going. Now, of course, if you want, when we're getting into the other peppers, if you want it to be a little less spicy, I would suggest perhaps maybe removing some of the seeds on those peppers. That is a viable option. Okay. Making good progress already. Now here, I have jalapenos and serranos. Now the jalapenos and the serranos, they look fairly similar. except these Serranos, they're a little bit skinnier and they are a little bit hotter. And the jalapenos, they're little chubs, you know, they're cute. Now also, if you're working with peppers that are hotter than this, I would strongly suggest use gloves. Now, me personally, I have not had any issues whatsoever, so I'm going to wing it and, you know, just remove your stems and then just cut up the rest of it and plop that into your pot. Now, so far we had, it was what, half of a yellow onion, an entire red bell pepper, and as far as the peppers go, I found that a good ratio is 10 of these Serranos and 20 of these jalapenos. That I found worked out very nice for me as far as balancing out the heat. Okay, now of course, like I said, you can use whatever sort of peppers that you want to. If you want to go really hot, you might want to go with habaneros or the ghost peppers. I haven't tried either of those. That is, I haven't tried a habanero in quite a long time. Chili peppers, like the ghost chilies, never tried those yet. I like spice, but I'm not a huge fan of pain. You know, I am not a complete glutton for punishment. So just gonna give these a nice rough chop. And that's pretty much it as far as the solids are concerned. And then to that, we're gonna add some vinegar. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to chop up the rest of my peppers here off camera, and I will see you in just a bit. All right, one moment. Okay, so everything has been chopped up. Now, of course, I forgot one major important thing because I love it so much, garlic. Now, in my initial recipe, I used an entire bulb of garlic. Today, I'm going to be taking the cheating way out, and I'm going to use some jarred minced garlic. Now, as far as the ratio of what to what, you know, I love garlic, so I am not afraid to use a lot of this. So I've got a teaspoon here, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, so that's 1 tablespoon. And let's see how many more. 4, sort of 5. Can I get 2 tablespoons? Yeah, just about. Yeah. Okay, so 2 tablespoons-ish of garlic, roughly speaking. And then, last but of course not least, the vinegar. So going to need about 3½ cups of vinegar. Now, of course, if you want your hot sauce to be a little thinner, a little bit more liquidy, use more vinegar. If you want it to be thicker, more robust, use less. But me, I found that using about 3½ cups worked out very nicely for me. I may tweak it near the end though. So this is 2 cups right here. And this is just regular white distilled vinegar. Some people like to use apple cider vinegar. Never really used it before. To me, just the idea, I don't know, kind of gives me the creeps. But that's just me. I mean, granted, it's not fair if I haven't tried it for me to cast aspersions. I know, I'm just saying. All right, and so here is another 1½ cups. And that's it. It's that easy. Yes. Okay, so let me get this off the stove and out of flammable range. There we are. All right, then just going to put this on my burner, give this a slight stir so everything is all together. Okay, and now we play the waiting game. So I'm gonna put this, I think I'm gonna bring it up to a boil and then down to a simmer. So I'm gonna start it off on high, and then when it starts to get going, I'm gonna bring it down to a simmer, and then I get to wait. Yes, I'm going to wait for it. While it's simmering, the peppers are gonna get nice and soft, and then it is at that point when all the peppers are nice and soft, then we can go in with the immersion blender, then we get to do the straining, and then we get to do the bottling. So it is it's a multi-step process, but it is super duper easy. Can you cut vegetables? Yes? Okay, you can make hot sauce. All right, so I'm gonna let this, like I said, bring up to a boil, down to a simmer, and let it just sit and do its thing, and I will meet back up with you. Alrighty, I will see you in a bit. Okay, so like I said, I brought my peppers up to a boil, down to a simmer, and they've been cooking for a bit, and I think that the peppers are nice and soft and ready for blending, so let's get to it. Oh, hot stuff. Okay, now, if, of course, you don't have an immersion blender, one of these, then you could, of course, pour everything into a regular blender. That's totally fine. So I like this because cleanup is so easy. So just going to go in and mush these until they are of a nice consistency. Yeah, all right. Gonna go in on high. And this process does take a bit, and I'm already getting a little bit of splash, so long sleeves are actually preferable, and I'm not wearing them. I'm breaking all the rules. And of course, if you want this to have a more chunky consistency, don't go completely crazy on the blending. So not done yet, but I've got a really good start going. I'm going to finish up the rest of the blending off camera, and I will see you in just a moment. Okay. Okay, so now that the blending is done, now it's time for the straining. So yes, you're going to need a strainer and an extra bowl, and let's get to it. Now this, out of the entire process, to me, this is the most tedious aspect, because it does take a while, but it's worth it if you want your hot sauce to have a nice, smooth consistency. Actually, let me tilt this a little bit. There we go. You know, you could use probably like a mesh, like a cheesecloth or something like that. This totally works for me. And so just run it through your sieve. Actually, the smaller spoon would work out a little bit better for this. Just strain it out completely, and then what's left over, you know, is going to be little unblended bits of pepper and some seeds and that sort of thing. Those, I just throw them out. You know, you can do whatever it is that you want to with them, but I just throw those out. And then so when all we have is just some remaining dregs, just going to throw those out and do the process again. See, I got a couple little pepper bits that didn't quite get blended. That's okay. I'm not going to do even more blending than I already did. I'm done. So I'm just going to scoop this out and continue on with another scoop. And then just do this for your entire batch, and then you will be ready for bottling. Now I have some lovely little bottles that I found off of Amazon, hashtag not sponsored, but I will put a link in the description box down below where I got mine, and they worked out very, very, very nicely. You could, of course, use mason jars or any sort of other container that you like. That's totally fine. Although I like the idea of using the bottles because then you're not, you know, putting a spoon in there and possibly contaminating your hot sauce, which obviously you don't want. Now, if this turned out like my previous batches, you know, because not all peppers are the same size, etc., etc., if this turned out the same, relatively speaking, it's going to have a little bit of sweetness from the red pepper, the bell pepper, and some spiciness, of course. But what I have found is that, yes, it's spicy, but it doesn't stay with you. It's sort of, you know, it's more of like an immediate kind of heat, and it doesn't stick with you for like an hour afterward, which I actually like. You know, it has heat, but it's not punishment. Okay, so we're almost done with this batch. And I figure, yep, I'm going to do the rest off camera, but you get the idea, right? Now imagine something else that you could do is with this stuff, perhaps you could use it, you know, maybe, I don't know, I'm just sort of, you know, spitballing ideas here. Perhaps you could smooth this out on some parchment paper, bake it at a low temperature for, I don't know, however long, dry out this and use it as perhaps some other sort of condiment or spice. I don't know. My brain always thinks of other possible uses for things. But making my own hot sauce, that's enough. Okay, so I'm going to get through the rest of this batch off camera, and I will see you in just a bit. Okay, I'll see you soon. And now, after all of our work, we're in the home stretch. My favorite part, the bottling. So these are some 8-ounce bottles that I found, like I said, on Amazon. Now, these I found for making my water kefir. In a previous video, we went into that. So I'm going to fill up these 3 and probably put the rest in here. So let's see how our yield turned out. Also, of course, if you want your hot sauce to be a little bit thinner, now would be the time to add some more vinegar, mix that in. Although, I think that the consistency that I have right now is just right. Not too thin, not too thick. I am wondering though if I'm gonna get about the same yield that I got before. Like I said, some peppers are bigger than others, but we got one bottle down. Cap this little guy up. There we go. Number 2. All right. That's 2. That's 3. Something tells me that it's not going to be quite the same. Let me see if I have another one of those little bottles. And I do not have one of those on hand at the moment, so I am going to just use this one after all, which is fine. See, I figure these I will give away. This one will be my own personal reserve. Actually, I think we just about did it. Okay. Not bad at all. As far as the yield goes, not bad, not bad. Okay. Cap this little guy, pop him in the fridge, and we are good. Now, what I like to do, of course, is take some masking tape with a Sharpie, write the date on here so that people know, yes, it was made on such a date. And there you go. So we have, well, this is a 16-ounce bottle, and it is just about full. So, yeah, not bad, as far as the yield, and it was so easy to do. Now, because I always have to do the tasting, we're going to do the tasting right here and now. As much as I would love to have a taco right now, I don't have any tortillas defrosted. So I'm going to take some of the dregs here, and I'm going to go in straight. Bon appetit! Really good. Really good, actually. I like it. I do like it because you can taste the sweetness from the bell pepper, the vinegariness, the acidity, of course, from the vinegar. I really like how we didn't add any extra sugar or salt for that matter. I'm going to go in for seconds. I'm starting to sweat, by the way, in case you couldn't tell. That's really good. It's got some kick, but I'm not dying. It's like, yeah, it has some heat. And hot sauce typically makes my nose run. I don't know about you. I'm not getting it yet, but I'm sure I will. I'm going to go in for another one. This is really good. If it was killer hot, I wouldn't be able to do what I just did. Do I feel the burn? Yes. Do I feel the heat? Yeah, I do. But it's doable, and it doesn't last for a year and a day, which is really, really nice. It's a great, great flavorful addition to your kitchen. Yeah. Yes, I am. I'm definitely starting to sweat a little bit, but it's a pleasant tingle. It's really nice. I like it. So, that being said, have you made your own hot sauce before? If you have, what was similar? What was different? Let me know. And I hope that you liked this video. And if you did, please give a little thumbs up button down below, because you know that I appreciate your appreciation. And you know what to do until next time, right? I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, stay spicy. Yeah, stay spicy in the kitchen. Make some hot sauce for yourself or for somebody you love. These make great gifts, by the way. They really do. And it's hot, but it's totally workable. It's not quite the same as wasabi, but it's good stuff. I don't know, maybe I'll make some tacos later. Anyway, you guys have a fabulous day. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.